Yes, hello there. Today I'm going to talk about the PPP method of teaching, and as I'm a young learner teacher, I'm going to talk a little bit about that in relation to young learners. The PPP method is a classic method, and perhaps it's related to Scott Thornberry's AA method, which is I think very similar. However, today I'm going to first of all talk about the presentation part of the PPP, and then also about the practice part and about the production part. So starting with the presentation, I would suggest that whatever presentation or whatever kind of presentation you're doing of vocabulary or grammar or the discourse or whatever presentation you're going to do, is that you should perhaps extend that presentation period. Often, I think we as teachers we put the presentation as being a short part of the class, and then we focus on practice. And what I'm suggesting is that the presentation part should in fact be multimodal. That is, that you can use a variety of modes in order to build up knowledge of children's knowledge of a piece of language. Commonly, this term is commonly known as mapping. That is to begin to build a kind of map. And just a little brief thing about those maps is that they take time to be created inside the brain here. And I think on the we're looking at several days or even weeks in order for a map to be complete for a singular lexical item. It's still unclear whether fast mapping is available for very young children. I think they can learn new words very quickly, but for older children those maps take time to produce. So with your presentation, for example, I want to say about presenting for example, a fireman, and I'm presenting to the children the idea of what a fireman is. And of course a great way to do that is to show a picture of a fireman, and then let them to listen to the term fireman, so that they can hear the pronunciation. This is a fireman, so on. Maybe if you want to get them to say the word fireman, although I personally I wouldn't be ready for that at that stage. And then after I've done that, I may use some other related vocabulary to fireman, and then lead on to a different mode of input. And in this case, I'm going to use code-speech gesturing, and this means, for example, we're going to have fireman, and the American Sign Language for fireman is this. And then at this stage, I would actually have the children actually making the sign and saying fireman themselves. And I want to consider this as presentation, not practice. And I don't think that this yet should be a kind of practice, but a presentation. So that's one mode of input. And then another mode of input that I would also consider is maybe a chant, or maybe some kind of game relating to that, where they have to select each item on the board. But the point being is that the presentation is still continuing. I'm extending the presentation period. And if I feel that if you feel that the students are struggling a little bit, then you need to be aware that input and output are different. Is that I don't think that you can expect in the first class even that students are able to output easily any new item. And I think it causes great stress among students. The teacher expects them to know, after a few exposures, expects them to know some new items and things. And I suggest that you extend the time in which you are presenting those items. Okay. And then the second part is actually the practice part. Now, depending on the item that I'm presenting, or depending on exactly what we're doing, I think that the practice part again needs to be extended. I think trying to get students to practice within a short space of time, and then moving to production, I think that this is going to cause a lot of problems, or does cause a lot of problems. So with the practice piece, I suggest that you extend it over several classes, and again, you can stay within one item, but but practice it in various different ways, and this causes the mapping to become more solid. It causes actually some brain changes. But in order for those brain changes to solidify or to work out, again, you need time. So once you've done your presentation and you've done your practice, then you're going to have to give it some time. And I suggest a week or so, and then maybe practice again. And then again another week later, maybe practice again. And then finally at some point, you can expect production. And this is, for me, I think is not a radical new idea, but a new idea, is that the 3 Ps in one class may cause a lot of stress among your students, and will give you a sense that they're not achieving anything. So my suggestion, seriously, is that the first P, maybe be one class, and then the practice part can be over three or 4 classes. Okay, this is all I have to say at the moment, and I hope you enjoyed my little talk. Thank you.